right, well, welcome to Apex Real Talk, tuned in live with Mr. Curtis Eatmon, a mentor of mine, a coach for several years in business. He's a real estate investor, a multi-six-figure earner within the insurance industry. He has mentored me and my wife for years, so I know him pretty well. And he is directly coached and mentored by someone you might know, Patrick Bet-David, highly respected in our company. He has done some phenomenal things, and I'm so thankful to have you on the podcast today, Curtis.
Of course, man. Anything for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? It's been a long time coming, and I know a lot of great people whose voices need to be heard, and we're in currently Black History Month,
Yes, we are.
right? And I think that you're a great voice to be speaking at this moment in time in 2024, and I love to hear your thoughts on what your vision for the community is in a month like this. What would something you would wish you could see within the Black culture?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
Yeah, there's so much that, anybody, I don't care what culture you're in, you always want to see your culture do better, right?
Right.
And I think more than ever in today's society, when you look at your heritage, when you look at, maybe what your community or your culture came from,
Right.
the oppression maybe that they went through, because I don't care what culture you're from, everybody's been through some type of oppression, right? Like what is the ultimate goal, I guess you would say, that I would love to see accomplished is Black men raising up and being kings again, being an example. Because where I'm from, and just our culture alone, like you only had a couple choices, right? And the choice was play sports, right? And that's was the example we seen. It's like, hey, go play sports. You can get out, out the, I guess you would say, the oppression that you're in, right? Or if you don't play sports, go to school, right? And not everybody's going to do very well in school. Doesn't matter what culture or community you're from. That's just the reality of it. And then another example you might see is, go be part of a gang.
Right.
Because you're looking for some type of love, or you're gonna go sell drugs, or you're gonna do those different things, because the drug dealers are the ones that usually are driving the nice cars, or have all the gold chains and all these different things. So these are the examples you see. So if you're not, again, a corner boy selling drugs, or you're not a gangster, or you're not going to school and trying to be a professor or get educated in that route, or you're not trying to play sports, like what are you supposed to do?
Right.
And so you never really, maybe it may be different, but where I came from, you didn't really see like legit business owners. There was business owners, right? But their life expectancy was a little different, right, than most. And so you only usually do what you see. Yeah, and so for me, what I love that's transpires was, I guess you would say, is that's transpiring now.
Right.
Is that you're seeing a lot more examples of Black men that are doing business, ethically, doing business the right way. Like not that, it doesn't mean it never was happening. It just never was, I guess you would say, marketed.
Right.
It's never marketed at all, right? Just like the news, they like to put the negative versus the positive, right? Because that gets better ratings. So usually that's all we saw. So for me, I chose the basketball route. I chose the sports route.
Right.
And it did very well for me. And then I had to make a decision what my next move was going to be, and using mentors to be able to step into the business route. But what I would love to see, to answer your direct question, is I would love to see more men, more women in our community rise up and use business and use entrepreneurship as the great equalizer to get back to anything they felt that was stolen from them.
That's good.
More than anything, and I think it's you live in America, you have the opportunity to do that.
Right. Well, capitalism is the even playing ground.
Oh, so yes.
Like my family's from Italy. They came to America as immigrants. So you get a chance to come up and be somebody, and there's nothing holding you back.
Right.
Now, you went the basketball route.
I did.
And everybody wants to be that growing up. Everybody wants to be an NFL player. Everybody wants to be a baseball player, right? And then reality hits, right? And you're like, okay.
Or gravity pulls you
Or
down.
gravity hits some joints.
Yeah.
You made it, and you were with the University of Utah, correct? And you got injured. What was that like to know that you've got a career to all of a sudden you've got to make a different, you got to pivot into a different industry. What was that like?
I think a lot of people can relate with it. I mean, most people in life never just chose one route and that's the only thing they ever done. Usually you're in transition. At least majority of people are in transition, you know, in life. You know, most people are not Tiger Woods that's swinging a golf club at 2 years old and that's all you've done for the rest of your life. Right? We want to be, you know. But most people are having multiple chapters that are switching.
Right.
And, you know, for me growing up, I saw my mom where she was simply an educator. And followed me to school, hasn't left to this day, is our running joke, right? And she loved educating, she loved doing what she's doing, but didn't get paid very well. So she's putting time in, she has passion, and I think they should get paid a lot more than what they're getting paid for. But the impact was exponential, and I saw that. So I got a lot of my drive from her, I got a lot of my impact from her. And I see my dad would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I never saw him, but I would hear him, right? Wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he would drive an hour and a half one way to a place called Edwards Air Force Base because he was an aeronautical engineer. And he's working there for 90 hours a week, but the drive back home, that's another hour and a half, so that's 3 hours a day, that's 15 hours a week he's driving just to get to his position, then working 90 hours on top of that. So every time I saw him when he was in the working mode of season, he was just very exhausted. You know, so he had the money, but he didn't have the time to enjoy his money. So me growing up, I think a lot of people could probably relate with this, is that I just wanted both. I wanted the time and I wanted the impact. And I wanted the money as well with it, right? That allowed me to be able to do things I want to do with the family. And so everything I was doing when I saw that picture was a driving factor of what I was looking to solve for to give them what they were missing. If that makes sense.
Time, impact, money.
Man, so I was looking for it. Like my brain's like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then again, I'm looking at what was my examples. All right. Am I supposed to go to school? Am I supposed to, you know, be part of a gang? Am I supposed to sell drugs? Am I supposed to go be educated? Like, what am I supposed to do that's going to give me both time, money, and impact? I call it the it factor, right? You got the income, you have the identity, and you also have the time. Right? And so for me, I was looking for that, and I'll turn on the TV, and I'll see people shooting orange balls around hoops and making millions of dollars for it. I said, I think I want to try that too, right? I'm black, I have a little bit of athleticism, you know, thank you for those genes. Maybe I can use this to get those things that I'm missing, right? And so I started playing basketball since the age of 4, loved it. And became All-American. They said I was good enough to play in the NBA, and that was good. You know, all exciting for all the obvious reasons. And, you know, but for me, I think more than anything, the driving factor even wanting to do that was to help my parents. That's really what it was. And then so after I went to University of Utah, I went to school for business entrepreneurship and finance, and that was great. And then over there, we went overseas, Australia and Puerto Rico, got to see the world through basketball, and got to really experience what it feels to be a foreigner somewhere else. And for someone to envy you being in America. Yeah, and so I would have conversations because I'm a very curious individual. I don't care who you are, I'm always going to have a conversation with you. And I would always ask people like, hey, so why don't you go to America? And they would tell us the reasons, you know, I'm waiting for my visa to come through, whatever it may be. If I could just get there, how life would change for me. Oh my gosh, you're American. Man, what could you do? They're talking about all the movies like Ghostbusters and all these different stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Like in America, you can really do what you really want to do. Like in America, you can really be free. In America, you can really change your ink. Like, and it really like gave me confirmation that I'm blessed. Like it gave me confirmation that I'm so grateful that my parents had me here because they could have me anywhere. And so when I would come back home and I would have conversations with my proximity, which are my friends, and I'd be like, hey man, what do you think about the American dream and all these different things? And I'm like, what American dream? It's American nightmare here.
We're born here. It's hard to see it because you're used to it.
This is all you see.
It's common.
And so for me, I was like, man, I'm going to take advantage of this. So after, you know, playing a summer pro league game and I got hurt, and then now that whole basketball dream of buying my mom the big house, of shooting an orange ball in a round hoop by doing that, and helping my dad retire quickly and all that was all taken away based on an injury that I had no control over. I had to make a next move.
So you're in this moment in your life, you're in between being a victim of I just lost everything, and not really even on your own, you know, you couldn't control what happened.
Can't control someone undercutting you.
So and then even blaming that person and sitting in that, you chose to rise up and find something that could do the same thing that you had going for you.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, at that point in time, my season of life, I was functionally depressed.
Okay.
Because you imagine everyone telling you you're about to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be something. You're top 5 in the USA. You're top 100 in the country. Da da da. All these different stuff, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can no longer do it anymore.
Right.
Right.
Gone.
But then you see everybody that you're competing with now on TV.
Yeah.
Doing the thing that you know that you were called to do.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, I'm more angry.
Okay.
I guess you would say. And I'm functionally depressed. Like, I'm just like, I'm here, but I'm not really here. Like, my mind's over there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm really mad at God at this point in my life.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, God, really? Like, you're going to take me this far? You're going to put all this in my face? You're going to expose me to this? You're going to have me working out 8 hours a day?
Right.
You know, I miss how many parties I miss, how many birthdays I miss, how many all the things I should have did with all my friends, but I didn't do any of that because I'm shooting in the gym.
Yeah,
you know, I'm working out. Wasn't drinking. I wasn't, doing all this. I would show up to a party for 15, 20 minutes, say what's up and leave, just because I'm like, I got to get back to the gym.
Yeah.
Because my mom's still not at the house yet, like we supposed to have yet.
Yeah.
She's still working. My dad's still driving 3 hours. Like, that was the driving factor to now saying, you can't do that anymore. So I'm like, God, really? That's what you're going to do to me?
So you had the Black Mamba mindset of like working hard, and now it's taken, and now so you're thinking, what's your next step? So you're depressed. Did you reallocate those emotions?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me was understanding that the skills, the talents, the gifts that were created, the gift is a gift. Like, God gives you a gift, right? That's something that, again, you didn't make up. That's something that he gave you. And there's something that you got that I don't got, and vice versa, that's a gift from him. And I had to really understand that all that has to do with my identity, and my identity had nothing to do with the sport I was playing for that season. I could take that identity anywhere. I can make anything my new sport. And I just had to find a new platform.
Okay.
And that was the transition that I think a lot of people are probably going through as well. It's like, maybe you're working at a job, or maybe you went to school for a certain amount of years and you got a degree for a certain thing, and that was the idea that you were supposed to be doing. But then things change. Right. And are you ready to pivot if that's necessary? Because the thing about life is it's always going to be changing, and life is going to be life, and we say, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, you found a cool outlet, because I know you more than our guests know you, and I've seen the inner workings of how you work. I've worked out with you. I've had you beat me up in the gym. Like, I know what it's like, He always records me and be like, hey, look at Luke. Struggling.
How did your elbow hurt? How does that work,
it's
right?
Like grown man.
I love it.
Anyways, I've watched you build a team culture that's just sick. When it comes to football, basketball, locker room, hype, it's there.
Yeah.
How did you go about building that type of culture? Because there's a lot of people that are business owners, maybe watching, maybe run teams, maybe are managers, and they have messed up team energy.
Yeah.
How would you get one of them to realign and go, hey, this is what I focus on and how I build culture, a winning culture?
Yeah, I think everything starts with the top first, of the vision of what you want to create.
Okay.
Because it starts in your head before it comes out to what everybody else gets to see, before you get to witness it. So you're witnessing something that's happened in my head continuously. Right. So you have to first envision it, and then you have to, for me, that's why I think, it's interesting, because you never know the things that you're going, the trials and tribulations you're going through. Like, in the season of it, when you look back, you say, oh, that's why I went through that. Right, that's why I went through that. Like, I understand locker room because I was in locker rooms. Right. I understand what it means to be a part of a winning team because I was a part of winning teams. I understand what it means to be coached at the highest level, and and having to make sure your work ethic's at the highest if you're trying to compete to even be in the relevant. Right. So I get it. So because of that, I was able to transform that here and say, okay, these are the things that I took in my experiences of life, and everyone has something, by the way. All right, your experiences are exactly what you need to get you to the next level. That's why you went through them. You just have to figure out, just like when you're making food. A lot of people don't make food anymore. They microwave more. They Uber. Right? But if you're cooking something, there's ingredients that you have to put into it to make the meal that you're trying to make. Right? And that's exactly what this is. A culture, all it is you're taking your experiences that you want of that culture you envision, and you're really making that meal.
Okay.
the proper way. So for me, I needed competition in my culture.
Okay.
You know, I
Ingredient
needed
number one.
Yeah, you know, I needed competition. I needed those that are big thinkers, like no small thinking, right?
Okay.
You know, hey, you know, there's no sensitivity in this culture, right? Doesn't mean we don't love. There is love in there too, right? And you'll see that we praise everybody. I don't care what you do.
Right.
Even if you do one push-up, we praising you. You're right.
Right.
You do anything, we're going to always praise, but we
Right.
also challenge low standards.
Right.
Right. And so I want everybody to be dressed to the nines and feel good about themselves, because if you look good, you play good, right? I want everybody to get paid, right?
Right.
I don't want you to be looking good and not making no money,
Right.
right? And so all these different things, you know, from my past, I guess you would say, I just looked at it and say, what are the coolest things that I want if I was going to make a meal?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope. Yeah, you recreated it,
And that's it.
and I've been a witness to it. You know, which is one of the reasons I wanted to speak with you on this. And one thing I've noticed about you, there comes a moment when the light bulb clicks on an idea. You're great at executing with speed, and I feel like a lot of people have the idea, but it's hard to put it on paper or like even get it off of paper and get it into action mode. Because you have assistants, you know, you pay a lot of people to make your you pay a lot of people to make the wheels
nice
go
little
around.
entourage, yeah, for sure.
I might have just given it away, but how do you execute so fast?
Because in life, I understand I mean, I'm not like I'm that old, but you know, in my short amount of time, and I guess you would say, I know what it feels like not to execute.
Okay.
And I see the consequence for not executing. And I experienced it. I experienced not executing, making sure my body was what it needed to be able to take a fall that was a career-ending injury. Right? That non-execution now does not allow me to be where I thought I should have been.
Right.
So that's regret. So that now I take that regret and put it in front of me, saying, if you don't execute, you're going to feel that same thing again. Right? And I don't want to ever feel that again.
Right.
All right. So that is what now gives me urgency, that when I take something that, or at least I experience something, because I don't care who you are, it's not about your money, because money doesn't define your impact to me. Right. And so I'm going to learn something from everybody. And whatever that is that I can consume and learn from you, or I can add value exchangingly, I'm going to go execute if I feel that it can make my meal of my culture better.
Right.
You know? So
we're real big on saying hard choices, easy life with hard choices.
Hard life.
Hard life, yeah.
Easy choices, hard life, for sure, yeah.
You know, and it reminds me, and I think PBD might have said this, not sure, may have been you. It was about pressure. You can have good pressure and you can have bad pressure, but either way you have pressure. Either way you have pressure, and let's break this down, unpack it. Pressure of, I paid the cost, I missed out on the birthdays, I did X, Y, Z, I grinded whenever no one else did, or my air conditioner just went out. I got to figure out how to make this money because I don't have it. You know, there's like I got a flat tire. If you don't got it, that's pressure. And now you're figuring, and so it's backwards pressure. And I think most people live in a survival mode pressure.
I agree.
And I think that can really have an effect on someone climbing out of that hole, because they're always facing bad pressure and never paying the cost to never have to pay that again. So
you're going to be paying something, though.
Yeah, you're going to pay something.
Yeah.
Now, in business, you're in business with your wife. You've been in business with your spouse for years now. You have a family. How do you manage kids, business, and still not be an absent father, but still being in their life? What are some things that you do?
I think the number one thing to answer your question is awareness. Like, just being aware what needs to be filled in that time, because there's no such thing as like balance. Like everyone's heard that balance. That's not. It's impossible. Like, you know. So once I focus on one thing, something else is unbalanced. It is what it is.
Right.
You just got to prioritize. So for me, faith goes first, then it goes family, then it goes my business, right, and everything else within that. And so for me, it's also understanding what is going to accelerate my family and the people around me the highest in the season I'm in. So in this season, I think there's always three things you got to think about. There's a season of love, there's a season of peace, and there's a season of war. Right? And everyone has to decide what season you're in. You know, maybe it's a season of love for you where it's just like, hey, you know, everything's just good and we're going to love everybody and this is what we're focused on because you probably have the money you need and everything else. So you'll need to fight for that. And then there might be a season of peace, right? And it's just everything is just calm, cool, collective. You know, you're about to serve everybody else. And then there's a season of war where it's like, you got to go kill some stuff.
Right.
You got to go slay some dragons.
Right.
Your family ain't where it needs to be. So you're the one that needs to pick it up to the next level.
Right.
Like your last name doesn't hold any weight right now. There's a wartime. You need to now make sure that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and so you have to decide what that is. And in war season, some people are going to be sacrificed because they're not going to get the love that they need because you're in war. Right? Think about how many people are in military, right? And if your country's in war, you got to say bye-bye to your what? Your family for a season.
Right.
To go and do what you got to do for your country. So when you come back, that your family's lifestyle is a lot better.
Right.
Because if they don't go to war, then the other country or your adversary is going to come kill the opportunity of freedom that you have for your family.
Wow.
You know, so then you have to kind of think about what season are you in?
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's always, okay, what season are we in? My wife's spring, right? Like, what season are we in right now?
Right.
Are we in love? Are we in peace? Or are we in war right now? Right now we're in war.
Okay.
Even
not with each other.
Not with each other. But like in war where we're taking our family to another level.
Right.
We're taking our flock, the people that trust me to lead them, we're taking them to a different level.
Yeah.
Where I got to look in the mirror and say, am I working at comfort? I'm working at capacity. I was doing an interview a little bit earlier before this, and this individual, I met with him. He was serving us at a hotel at one of our events, and I was talking to him just really quickly. I was just, hey man, like, tell me your story. And he's telling me his story. He's like, I'm excited about doing real estate and all these different things, and he's like, great customer service. Like, have you ever met somebody you're like, you should be doing something more in your life?
Right. Too good.
You're too, like,
Yeah.
there's no way you should just be doing this.
Right.
All right. Not to undermine the position because we all need that position. Because if he wasn't in that position, I want to be served at that moment. Right. But like you have a bigger calling on your life than what you're performing at the moment. And so I was like, do you want to do this the rest of your life? He's like, nah. I said, we're going to have a conversation. So we end up having a conversation. We hop on Zoom a little bit earlier today. And we're talking. And he's like, hey, you know, I want to do more in my life. I read all the time. I read, you know, the 48 Laws of Power. I'm doing all these different things. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I say, you have one choice. What do you want to do? Either you want to stay in your comfort or you want to reach capacity. Which one do you want? And he had to make a decision. I said, just so you're very clear, whatever decision you make doesn't affect me. It only affects you. So it doesn't really matter what decision you make. But I'm here to tell you, which one are you ready to make? Are you ready to stay in your comfort zone because you should be doing more, or are you ready to go to capacity? Yeah. And he looks at me and he says, you know what? I'm ready to go to capacity.
I love it.
So I respect that. Because how many people don't make that decision?
Right.
They make the comfort of staying at maybe their job. Right. Not to say that the job is bad, but it's keeping them in their comfort zone when they should be doing a lot more.
Right.
They're making $50,000 a year. They're making $100,000 a year. Let's go ahead and make it even bigger. Hey, you are a C-suite executive, and you're making $250,000 with bonuses and stocks, but that's his golden handcuffs because that's comfortable for you. Yeah. But you should be making $1 billion because that's the gifts and talents that will be put into you. But you didn't go to capacity. You chose comfort.
Right.
And we're all in that decision, by the way, consistently, every day.
Yeah.
Hey, should I stay in bed and hit the snooze button, or should I go to capacity?
Yeah.
Hey, should I make the one extra call that I'm supposed to make because this person I know if I bring them on board, that's the partnership that's going to accelerate our business to a different level, or should I just, I'm comfortable. And I made 25 calls, but you could have made 50.
Right.
Or, you know, say like we're all making that decision.
So how do you take that thought process in the moment, like let's say the motivation, because someone's probably fired up watching this, and then tomorrow that snooze button's going, you know, like what do you tell yourself? Because I know you wake up at 4 o'clock and you went to bed at 2 a.m. I know, and the people out there don't know that, you know, and it's like there's a different grit and a grind. What do you tell yourself in those moments of when you don't want to do it? I got to pay this price right now. What is that for you?
I think that you have to have accountability partners around you.
Okay.
And you have to choose your accountability partners wisely. Like our CEO, Pat, always talks about, you know, choose your enemies wisely. Yeah, I believe in that.
Yeah.
But I think you have to choose your accountability wisely. And so, like, my accountability is like my kids. You're like, for your kids, your accountability. No, like, the kids will tell you the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
they will tell you the truth, and we don't like it, but they're really parenting us if you really listen to them,
Yeah.
right? So I'll ask my kids. I say, hey, do you think Daddy really works hard? Right? Hey, I'll ask them the simple questions.
Yeah.
And just to see what their awareness is and what they are noticing.
Right.
Right? And so for me, kids one day are going to become very smart. And I never want this question to be asked. Hey, why aren't we at this level as a family?
Right.
Why does the neighbor's able to do this and we can't?
Yeah.
But my point is that they're going to be the accountability to me.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they have the options to always win, no matter what it is. Hey,
Right.
you need piano because you wanted your mind to go to a different level? I want to be able to pay for that. Hey, my youngest one, 2 years old, like it's so, she's not 2 yet, she'll be 2 in March. It's so hard to leave her.
Right.
Like when I'm saying it's so hard to leave her, like it's so hard to like she comes, knocks on my door in the morning at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, time to wake up. Obviously, I'm up already,
Right,
right?
right,
And all
right,
this
right.
stuff, right? I'm already back at the gym. Already took the other kids to school and all that. But
Yeah.
that's our time together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my point is she holds me accountable that if I had a regular job, I wouldn't be able to cut out a lunch and just go spend time with her. If I got a message from one of the teachers, for my son or my other daughters saying, hey, they're having a tough day right now. I don't know what's going on. Stop everything, guys. I'll be back. I can go talk to my son, go talk to my daughter and say, hey, what's going on with you? You okay? Like, and be able to be present.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do that if I don't work the way I work.
Right.
It makes sense
Right.
because it allows me the fortitude to be able to be present,
Right.
to be able to do the things. So running a schedule like I run they're always number one. My wife is by far number one, and who's number one above that is God, right?
Yeah.
So I make sure I have my devotion with him. He tells me where I need to go every day. And then from there, it's making sure that me and Spring are on the same page of what we got on our schedules, that we have our time together. It doesn't have to be very long, but at least 15 to 20 minutes of just quality time.
Right.
And then each kid gets 15 minutes of quality time, no phones or nothing. I don't care if I can't see you. Like yesterday, I didn't get to see anybody, but everyone got a phone call from me. Everyone got a FaceTime from me for 5 to 10 minutes. Even the baby, she's like, hey, Dad, and we were having a conversation for 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
And then I'm back to what? Grind mode.
Right.
Because we're in war mode.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I think today a lot of people say, well, I have a family. I got to have all this quality time. So you're going to sit there and watch Netflix for 2 hours? That's not quality.
Right.
Like, quality is like, hey, how are you doing? No, like, how are you really doing? Like, what's really going on with you right now? What's some of your goals in the season? Who's bullying you right now? Is anyone bullying you? Are you bullying anybody? Because we don't bully.
Yeah.
Like, so tell me about your friends.
Right.
Tell me about the tough challenges you had to go through today. How can I help you? How can I support you? What do you need from me more?
Yeah.
Your
that's few moments of involvement is probably more than most people who are just sitting around watching Netflix.
Yes,
because you're involved, you're engaged.
And I don't think enough. I'm not saying that most parents don't do it. I don't think we are intentional
That's good.
on the relationship, so it's never deep. And so if you don't do that, then your kids don't reach out to you when they're going through real problems. They hide it and they go to who they're comfortable to.
Wow.
And then that's their proximity.
They process.
And they process with people, unfortunately, that are not really for their favor because they can't even solve their problems.
Yeah.
But you're in their life to solve it. So, yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if that helps.
That's so good. I feel like that's a pretty rich subject. There's a lot of people that have kids and maybe haven't even got the hang of it yet and they're on their fourth one. Yeah.
When you start learning real quick, then no one knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. I promise you that.
I love it. I love it. No, I could imagine saying goodbye to Nova.
Oh.
You have the prettiest little girl ever. It's like, okay, I gotta leave. Like, I don't want to leave.
She's hard. She's so hard. Yeah.
So, you've had the chance, you mentioned PBD a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. You've had the chance to be coached and mentored by PBD for years now. Mm-hmm. How would you say his mentorship has affected your trajectory of your life?
I think today, if you don't know who Patrick David is, we got to get you under, from under that rock you're under, of course.
That's
but Patrick to me is someone, when you say genuine and a wartime leader, he's that. Like, a lot of people talk. Most people even probably do, but he is.
Right.
And and so for me, it's always hard for for anybody to find someone and submit to them. And and you can tell a true leader is based on how they speak to you, not where you're currently at, your circumstances, but where they always see you going. So they always speak to the future you.
Mm.
And I would say Patrick's gift, more than anything, is he's able to remove where you're at today and always speak to the future you of who he sees you as.
That's good.
And so, I mean, to me, it's family. I mean, we'll call him for anything. And we're very respectful in the relationship. So I'm not someone that always reaches out, even though he's probably mad that I don't reach out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And maybe that's more ego in me that I'm still working on. But like, he's always helped us in decision with our children. I would say the way that we raise our kids, the way that me and my wife's marriage is, and how it's prospering now over 10 years, and we love it. We're doing very, very, very good. To how I deal with my parents, how I'm a brother, to how I lead my team. Like, he has so much impact and influence on how I process things.
Right.
So working with him has been a blessing. He's literally a gift. Like, I call him my guardian angel. 100% he's my guardian angel. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to say that. Even people who never met him, they just watch him through Valuetainment or videos, whatever it may be. And that's how you know you're powerful.
Right.
That's how you know you have a big call in your life, is if you can impact people without meeting them.
That's good.
So he's that guy.
Right.
And if anyone has the opportunity to build a relationship with him, I wouldn't take that for granted
100%.
at all, because he's one of those GOATs for sure.
Absolutely. He actually changed the trajectory of where you were going to move at one season of your life.
He's so many different chapters.
And then essentially changed the trajectory of where I was going to live, because you didn't come where I was, and then I came where you were.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, here we are, Dallas, Texas, from Vegas. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You become influential when people will move based on where you are, or what you're doing, or what your next move is.
Yes.
That's someone going, I will follow you. I'll roll with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with you.
And much respect to you for you're moving you and your family, because you had a choice to stay comfortable. Right? Where you're at. You had, you built a business, a substantial business in Las Vegas for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Built relationships, built a community.
Yeah.
Just to say, you know what, I no longer want comfort, I want capacity.
Yeah.
And so you put yourself in an uncomfortable environment to grow.
Yeah.
So much respect to you, because most won't make that decision.
Thank you. I don't want to. You said it a little bit earlier. I call it managing regrettability.
I like that.
Regret. We only have so much time, and I'm okay. I never understood how someone could live in the same place for like 60 years.
Yeah.
It's like I was born in this house. I'm like, like I just can't. It's not me. And if that's you, that's fine. It's just I always was aware that the world was big. I lived in Germany when I was younger. As soon as I was 18, I was like out of the house. Like literally, I graduated. The next day, I was gone. And so I've lived in Boston. I've lived in Oakland. I've lived in Phoenix. I've lived all over the place. So I've always never been afraid to move. Moving to Vegas was probably the scariest because I had a wife at this point. So I can do it by myself. But now I'm responsible for someone. And so that weight's a little bit different when as the male, I carry responsibility here. But I had built a substantial community of people I love, cherish, friends for a lifetime there. But I always would wonder what would it have been like if I moved. You always will wonder, and you can always go back, but that initial jump has to happen. If I'd rather fail trying than not even try. And I think a lot of people, they never step out in faith, so they never even fail because of the comfortability. And I think people are slowly dying in their comfort. And they're suffering from depression. They're suffering from lack of purpose. They're not having the impact. They're not pursuing who God created them to be. And I think one thing you've done very well is you've always challenged to find that next version of you, which is literally the DNA of Pat.
100% recreation.
It's
Yeah,
like, who are you becoming?
Try to keep up with that guy. Yeah, he's ridiculous, man.
You know, I was laughing the other day. I was on his IG, and he posted a video of him shooting in the gun range, and he had the custom Kobe's, the Max Life Kobe's,
That's
right?
cool. That's cool.
Do you remember we were at an event, and Pat was there, and you had bought these custom Kobe's from, they were our team shoes, and you're like, hold these. I'm like, all right, I got you. We leave the hotel, go to another hotel, and you're like, hey, Pat's here. You got the shoes? I'm like, looking in my pockets
I
for
remember this.
looking in my pockets for shoes.
Yeah, I would have shot you.
And
by the gun.
instantly remember, I left them at, I don't remember where we were, one of the casinos in Vegas. So I run to the car, and I park in the, and if you know Vegas, like, it takes you 20 minutes to get
the car.
Yeah, like, you got to
Parking
get in your
structure,
car, park, and I'm just like panicking, like, oh my God, I got to find these things. I walk into the event center, and it is wiped clean. And there's just like all the chairs, I'm at 6,000 chairs gone, like just trash everywhere. And I'm like, they are gone. Like, who would, like, you found some custom Kobe's on the, like, you're not returning them, you know? Like, someone found some new shoes.
Some real nice Kobe's.
And
man.
so I'm digging through the trash. I'm flipping things over. I find them at the bottom of a trash can.
Wow.
In the box.
I never asked you where you found them. I just said you better get those.
And I knew I had to get those.
Yeah.
In the bottom of a trash can, I found them. And I forgot about this story until I saw him in the video wearing those shoes the other day. I was like, he has no idea. No one knows where I found
Got a little
those
trash doo-doo on it. A little more comfort in them, man.
Good times, that's for sure.
That's crazy.
Yep. No, don't trust me with a gift for somebody. I struggle trying to remember the SD card to get here.
That's funny.
But no, man, you know, as we wrap this up, Curtis, you've been an absolute blessing to my life. You've helped me in so many ways as a man. You and your wife have mentored me and my wife for years now. You guys are family to us. You know that. You know, I am Uncle Luke to your children.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, you are.
And so,
yes, you are.
You have made a decision to become the best version of yourself. What's the vision? What's the future look like for you? Like, where are you headed? What's the end game?
Well, I mean, this is chess, so I can't give everybody my next move, you know. But I can tell you, we live life, to me, in contracts. So I play life like if the Cowboys picked me up for the next 5 years, I have a contract.
Right.
And they tell me, hey, based on your performance for the next 5 years, whatever you think you should get paid, we'll pay you based on your performance.
Right.
So what do you think you should get paid in the next 5 years, Curtis? I play this game with me, right? And I'll be like, 40 mil. Whatever, the X amount, right? And they said, great. So then for you to, I'm just thinking if I'm talking to Jerry Jones or something like that. All right, so if you're going to make 40 million, then you have to perform at this stats for you to be deserving of us to offer you a 40 mil contract that's guaranteed over the next 5 years then.
Right.
All right? And so I play the same game in business.
Okay.
I play the same game with health. I play the same game with my kids. All right? And so I say, okay, so I play 5-year contracts. And I'll just say, okay, if I'm 35 today, I have until 40. Where do I want to be at 40?
Right.
And so what type of, and then I backwards engineer.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And then I'll say, okay, I have to be at this health, because I have to have major energy. So I watch what I eat today because I have to have higher energy in the next couple of years, right? To be able to get to this goal.
Right.
I have to treat my kids a certain way because I expect them to be this 5 years from now.
Right.
Nova will be 7,
Right.
Cole's going to be 15. Maddie's going to be 22.
Right.
All these different stuff. I'm like, where do I want them to be at in 5 years? Where's my wife? Where I want my wife to be? She's supposed to be speaking on stages. We have a lot of things. So media companies. We have so many things we want to do for couples right now. We have Preneur Life that wants to help with leadership content, making the entrepreneur the hero again, and doing the right way with morals, values, and principles. But we want to take morals, values, and principles back to the family.
Right.
All right, and really building a family kingdom. And when a family kingdom is built, then guess what? Then you have an offspring of prince and princesses that can now lead the kingdom eventually, as well as heirs. You know, so and been making sure that when people get together as a relationship, that they actually stay together because they understand the right morals, values, and principles. That's why we run like Meet the Eatmans and a lot of
Right.
different relationship stuff. So, I know that everyone has either 1, 3, or 5 talents or gifts that are put on them. Me and my wife are 5 talent. So since we know we're 5 talent, there's a lot of responsibility.
Right.
And so for us, we're just in the season of making sure that we don't waste our talents being distracted on things that don't really mean anything 5 years from now.
Right.
So we're very, very aware of the spiritual attacks. We're very, very aware of people that are sent to distract us and deceive us in this period of time.
Wow.
And we're very, very aware of those who are supposed to partner with us because they're supposed to help us accelerate and
Right.
work with us to be able not just help their visions could be accomplished, but the vision that God put in us to be accomplished too.
That's so good. You
Yeah.
know, the talents. You guys are very talented.
Mhm.
How do you manage being so talented but yet being so clear? What's important, what's not important? You know, you talked about the distractions, like anything tangible that you can send with somebody of an example or something that just like, hey, this is something that we do to like, because we know we're this. You know, we
Yeah.
have to put this to the side because we know this is where our call is.
Yeah.
Anything you could say on that?
That's good. I think you tolerate and you don't tolerate things based on understanding your morals and values. Like, there's certain things I tolerate and there's certain things I just, that's not going to work.
Right.
You know, because I just know where we're going. So, like, for me in spring, that has everything to do with the platform we put our time into.
Okay.
So, the platform, and when I say platform, a lot of people choose the wrong platform. All right, so they're not able to get the income they're looking for that allows them to be able to do the purpose they're looking for. And so for me, we chose the platform of financial services. And then within financial services, you have to choose, because I mean, we've done real estate, we've done all this different stuff, right? But we chose this because this platform allows me to do everything that I know that I'm called to do in this season.
Right.
Like if I want to run media, I can run media.
Right.
All right, if I want to do podcasts, I'm doing podcasts on the platform. If I
Yeah.
want to do financial service, I'm doing financial service. I want to talk income, I want to talk relationships. I can tell you how many marriages have been saved from our conversations on our
Yeah.
platform. I can tell you how many kids are being raised up and seeing that their father is on stage and saying, man, I can do that one day. Can you imagine like being a kid and you seeing your parents walk across stages in front of 3,000 people?
Yeah.
And then they're like, that's what we do. That's
Right.
my bloodline.
Yeah.
Like your identity when you go back to school is like, what'd you do last week? Oh, wow, I just watched my parents get awarded in front of 3,000 other entrepreneurs about what they're doing in the community.
Yeah.
Like it's a little different.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what's your mom and dad do last
Yeah.
week, right? You know, so
Yeah.
so just having kids in the environment portraying that their heroes are entrepreneurs, not just people that are celebrities, you know, or with this next scandal that we keep glorifying and everything else, but they're actually seeing everyday heroes.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, how do I know what to do and what not to do? You have to find a platform that allows you to have people that incubate your vision, that don't allow your creativity to move you off of what you know you were still called to do.
Right.
Because sometimes our own creativity, because you are so talented, is a distraction.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not supposed to use all talents maybe at once.
Right.
You're probably supposed to use one talent that allows you to open up the opportunity to be able to use all the talents in the future in the season.
Right.
So that has a lot to do with wisdom and having people around that you can trust, that can guide you when you're stepping into confusion mode.
Right.
So for me, I have a lot of coaches that I trust
Yeah.
that keep me what I said I wanted in my end game.
Right.
All right, because sometimes we'll say, oh, I want this end game, but then we want comfort. And so we'll kind of move ourselves off of it, and we don't want the accountability. So I forcefully put pain in front of me, which is my coaches.
Right.
They apply pain on me that makes me stay focused.
And I think people, they don't like that. It's
Yeah.
like, but iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
And
It's not-
iron's clinking together.
Yeah,
and
it's
and
not fun.
and I think people want it to be comforting and safe. And one thing you said earlier about cultures, like it couldn't be too sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, a coach really doesn't tell you what you want to hear all the time. A real coach.
Yeah.
And
Nah.
it's
Yeah, you
so
got somebody who's taking your money if you want them to hear you all the time. Like
yeah,
that.
man, that's a word. That's a word. You're paying somebody to just give you feel-good messages. That's not a real one, and that's not what you should be paying for 100%. it seems like you're taking parenting, because this is really going into a lot of parenting, but you're making your kids watch you do. Not, and I think a lot of parents play the opposite role. Eric Thomas said, are you going to be great, or do you have to wait for your kids to grow up and for one of them to be great? And I know for a fact that you don't subscribe to that. You actually set the example and the tone, and I think a lot of it's more caught than taught, right? Because we can say, but they pay attention to what you do. And you've done a great job of getting on platforms, showing that your hard work pays off, showing the vacations, showing we live a different certain life. Now, your kids don't have the same life that you had growing up. There's a different level, What would you say, as we kind of land this airplane, for a parent that's pushing the kids to be great, meanwhile they stay in their comfort? How could you help them buy into or not buy into all the excuses of the kids and the errands and the things that you put off as a distraction? Any way you could help them?
Yeah, I think you're at the end of the day, parent, you're the architect of the life you're building, and I don't think you need to forfeit your life just to say that you are trying to build another life.
That's good.
Because you're still living and breathing.
Yeah.
So if you're still living and breathing, there's still a purpose on you. So what is that in your heart that's still calling you to do something? Because there's something.
Right.
But some of us, unfortunately, we suppress that feeling because we'll go, but I'm too old. But, it's not a good time right now. But I got to go to work. And we keep creating these validations of our limitations, and we keep fighting for them more than what we fight for ourselves.
Wow.
And when you're called, God's going to ask you, what did you do with those gifts and abilities? I gave you years, and you're still living and breathing with that. What did you do with it? And you're either going to say you multiplied them, you're going to say you divided it, or you're going to say you subtracted it.
Right.
So I think that if you're living and breathing, hopefully it's an encouragement and inspiration that if you don't know what to do, there is people and there's resources that can help you.
Yeah.
Now, if you seek that, you'll find. What you don't seek, you'll never find. But when you're committed, the world will give you answers.
Right.
If you're committed to growth, guess what? You'll find nothing but growth. It's almost if I keep saying Aston Martin right now, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of Aston Martin ads going to start popping on my screen, right? If I say Rolex consistently, so eventually I'm going to keep seeing Rolex. If I say red car, all of a sudden I'm going to start seeing red cars everywhere. Because whatever I seek, I find.
Yep.
So if you truly want to seek purpose for yourself, and you truly want to seek growth for yourself, and you really, truly want to see an example where you want your parents to be excited for you, but your kids to be excited too, I call it sandwich. I want my parents to say, man, I'm so thankful I had you, and all the investment, all the hours, everything I put into you, I'm getting a return for that. But I want my kids to say, oh, I'm so glad that you're my dad. I'm so glad that you're mine. Yeah, it's so cool. You want both of that. I want it to be sandwiched.
Yeah. That's so good.
So everyone has that opportunity for living and breathing, in my opinion.
You said about the red cars. I saw something today, and I was thinking about talking about it, but a lot of people think they don't have opportunity, right? And the lady, the video, I'm still in this content, she said, how many red cars did you see on the way here? And he was like, I don't know. She was like, if I told you to count the red cars on the way over, and you got paid for every red car you see, you would have counted them.
100%.
And she goes, the same way with opportunities, because you're not looking for them, you don't ever see them when they come.
Ooh, that's good.
And so, because a lot of people think, I don't have a way out. I don't have an out. It's like, no, remember the last 5 things that someone told you about that you blew off, said that's a scam, that's not good, this is dumb. I thought Bitcoin was a scam. Didn't matter my opinion.
It doesn't matter.
It still went through the roof. It went to the moon. I missed it. I'm not saying I can't get in it again, but I'm saying back then, I reasoned and talked myself out of it. I thought I had legitimate reasons. Oh, there's no federal backing, X, Y, Z. It's whatever. You don't know what you guys are putting money into.
Right.
Didn't matter. It still made money.
Yeah, that part.
It still made money.
Sometimes your opinions don't mean anything.
Well, Curtis, thank you for jumping on this podcast,
of course.
Apex Real Talk, 2nd episode.
Oh, really? Second one? You got me on your second one?
Bro, I should have got him on number 1.
Yeah, no, it's all good. That's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations for taking, I guess you would say, the leap of doing it, because most people talk, but they don't execute.
Right.
All right. So the fact you're doing it,
I got
Good
it
for
from you.
No,
Execution. But thank you. And again, if you want to connect with Curtis, where can they find you at?
yeah, so I mean, we're on Instagram, meet the Eatmans. It'll probably pop on the screen if it's available or in the show notes. Curtis Eatman, #4. Yeah, pretty
Awesome.
simple.
Awesome. Yes, you've spoken on stages. You said 3,000, but I've seen you speak on stages with 10,000 plus. So
Good.
we have a lot of cool.
When you're on the stage, you can't see that. It's lights in
Yeah,
your
it's
face.
just lights,
It's just you. It's just you talking to yourself.
Yep. Yep. It's
all
hot up
good.
here, and there's a bunch of people out there. That's all you
Yeah.
know. But man, thank you so much again, and hopefully we get to have you on again soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. If you like content like this, like and subscribe for more. If you want to be on this journey with us here, tap in, leave a comment, leave your biggest takeaway. I want to know what you learned today. A lot of nuggets were given today, and we'll see you on the other side.